This is my 1966 Royal Enfield Bullet 350, and actually it's really in 1989, but I was born in 66, so got a plate from Montana where I live that's from 66. Even got the little AAA thing that they would have in England. And this bike originally was built in England, and I'll be poor at the history, but pretty much they built the same bike from about 1948 to the mid-90s, and started in England, then they moved production over to India. So this bike is actually an Indian bike. And where I live, there's lots of Native Americans, so when you say Indian, you say Indian with a dot. That's what this would be. And right now I've got it looking like I just pulled it out of Bombay or New Delhi, and it's got a Craven rear rack, and I got this from my friends Irene and John, and this was what they called the salt bike. They used this to go to Bonneville, and just super cool. And it's got an amyl carburetor, and it's got these cool little side covers that hold a bunch of stuff. And then I added, to make it period correct, that's a bunch of wire for emergencies. And then a friend of mine gave me Smith's speedometer that's in kilometers per hour, so it's sort of period correct. And you can see, I think right there it says Cochin, India, October 1989, and that is the true date. And I've pretty much got it set up sort of as a dual sport bike, so that pack on the fender holds all my tire changing paraphernalia, and then got that cool license plate from a guy in London who had it on one of his 1950s bikes, so he sent it to me. And then I also have a tax disc from 1966, and it's repop, but it's super cool. And one of the cool things on this is it's got a chain oiler, so I don't have to worry about that. And another update I did was I found this at a friend's vintage shop, and so that's my pad for when I park it. And then I put some different tires on, so a friend of mine added a lug to the center stand to give it some height. And then I had a skid plate off of Yamaha YZ 125, so there's a skid plate underneath there. And then I just got some crash guards the other day, so that'll be the next thing. But this thing's just a sweetheart. And one of the things that people point out to me is there's seat repair. So right there, that's a patch that you would get to fix flats or to fix the inside of a radial tire. And yeah, it's got the patina. So the other thing that irritates people is my glass filter bowl for the carburetor. That comes from Briggs & Stratton engines from back in the day, and everybody thinks it's unsafe. So there you go. There's a quick little overview about the bike, and just super cool. And then I guess the last thing would be the lights. I got to get a new headlight, but my running lights are these, I think they're called Tiger lights. So you can see where those are lit up, and no ignition key, you just tickle it and go. So there's my 1966 Royal Enfield. Just don't tell anybody. Luckily I have law enforcement that basically writes down anything I tell them what a motorcycle is, so just love this thing. Thank you, Irene and John.